A jolly good morning to you. Wonderful weekend it is. Today being what's today again? Today is the 11th day of January 2024, 25? Why am I doing this? Yeah, 25, really. I don't know the drills and then the groove of last year is still there. But come on, we're in 2025. Don't forget about that. And it's good to be back on the Afia Sports Show. We are here on the home of sports and we're going to be talking about a lot. It is exciting indeed that the NPFL is going to be resuming next weekend. So a 2-week break is what happened, and then we're just enjoying, or let's say the players are enjoying, because we love football, we love sports generally, and want to see what's going on the home front, because charity always begins at home. But we need to start from what's going on right now. The players of the month, nominees for the player of the month and manager of the month are out, the lists. And then we're also going to be delving into the main news has broken this week. Nigeria, for those who have been living under a rock, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have a new coach. Forget my smile, I still have my apprehensions about that. The new coach is a man that we will be talking about in a bit. But beyond the Super Eagles coach, we're also going to be talking about what Aimba were able to do, how they've bridged the gap a little bit. They had that game in hand, one of the many games in hand, and they've tried their best. And then this is the FA Cup weekend. The English Premier League and then, of course, the English football pyramid will be witnessing FA Cup action this week. Biggest match indeed is going to have to be one of the biggest rivalries in the FA Cup, the two most successful FA Cup sides in the history of the oldest cup competition in the world, talking about Arsenal Football Club and Manchester United. They're going to be clashing tomorrow, and we're going to look more into that. And also the El Clasico on Monday, Real Madrid and Barcelona in the finals of the Spanish Super Cup. So really, it's something that we're looking forward to. And then also, let's not forget, tomorrow, Australian Open, the first Grand Slam tournament of the year, will be kicking off. And we're going to see what's going to happen for the next 2 weeks from the 12th of January to the 26th of January. Welcome to the show. I am CC Emetebe, also known as CC the Rabbi. Thank God I'm not CC the Rabbit. But it's good to be here. And I'm not doing this alone. As usual, I have our co-host, my dear friend, Fremeno Emeka Madoke, who is the priest of football, is right here.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Good, you're welcome. And then, of course, what is a sports show if there's no divination? There has to be some sort of divination that we're going to have, whether it's going to use a liver or arrows or maybe omens, I have no idea. Or maybe he wants to use something else that we have no knowledge of. I'm referring to none other than Divine Onwoka, the divinator himself. Divine, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you back after quite a while.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, sometimes looking at you, sometimes I feel like putting maybe Aradite or something on the seat so you can sit down there, because when you need Divine, sometimes not around. But it's good to have both of you here.
Thank you.
So we're going to start, the main information. One of the first bits of information is this. First, from the home front, this is news that also came out. Enugu Rangers have struck a new partnership with a Swiss second-tier club named FC Schaffhausen. No, this Swiss second-tier club, they have an agreement. It's more like a cultural exchange that's going to be moving on between these sides, where they'll be exchanging ideas, exchanging trainings, even exchanging players. Now, the team in question, this Swiss side, this Swiss second-tier side, is they are in a partnership with Enugu Rangers, and then of course the CEO of Rangers International Group, Barrister Amobi Ezako, went there. He was there live and direct in Switzerland to seal the deal, and it gives you some sort of memories of the clubs in the NPFL in the past that went through such deals, and some of them didn't really end well. I remember, I think that was Ifeanyi Ubah FC, they had a deal. I'm trying to remember who they had a deal with. Was West Ham United, I think it was West Ham United they had a deal with. And then some other teams do that. So this issue of a cultural exchange in the NPFL is very important, because for me, it pushes Rangers. Now, Rangers International is already a known brand, a very, very established brand, and it stands for a lot, not just for Southeastern Nigeria, but it has a global appeal. And one thing about this collaboration with sides, yes, I know people are going to argue and say, couldn't you do better? Because this is a Swiss side, and the Swiss league is not exactly among the top 5 leagues in Europe.
I mean, it is a start.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to start from somewhere. You can't just say, okay, it's a switch thing. They're not going to really get much from this side. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't just go jumping the guns into the Premier League or into the La Liga or even the Serie A. You have to start somewhere. Show people that you can at least develop a relationship.
Well, the point is, now I'm playing the devil's advocate here. I'm not saying I have a big problem with what happened, the quality of the side. This Swiss side they are 10th on the log in the second tier of the Swiss league. That is the Swiss Challenge League. I think that's what they call it, Challenge League, the second tier. They are 10th on the log, which is not exactly a very modest position to be in. And some will say, okay, even if you're going to go to the Swiss league, why not go for the top tier? Why not go for clubs like Zurich FC, clubs like Grasshoppers, these clubs, Young Boys and the rest of them, and why settle for that? So I get the argument of people who feel, that Rangers, as big a brand as Rangers is, could do better. They can actually do better. They could go for another team or another club, and that FC. It's there on the TV there. FC Schaffhausen of Switzerland. So it's a cooperation agreement signing ceremony which took place on the 9th of January, which was 2 days ago. So it's sealed. There are going to be exchanges. We're going to see most likely in the coming weeks where there might be swap deals, loan deals probably. I would actually assume that, where some of the players there in the Swiss league will come down and get a feel of what Enugu Rangers is all about, that cultural exchange, which is also good for the league. And God willing, if they see the beautiful city of Enugu, it sends Enugu to the world, even though on a larger scale, and then Rangers gets wider on the global map. So I think apart from the quality or lack thereof of the club involved, it's a good move for me. But the other apprehension people have. I don't know, Divine, what's your take on that?
No, I'll just concur to what Emeka has said. It helps develop your, should I say, enlarge your coast. Let me put it that way.
Expand your territory.
Yeah, exactly. So in anything you do, you would always pray for enlargement on every side. So we don't need to start wishing that they come and sign for Barcelona or Chelsea or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich immediately. No, since they started with Switzerland, the club in Switzerland, no problem. It's little by little that an ego builds its nest. So just steady by steady, maybe from the way, if the deal strikes well or strikes out well, who knows? The next people that might want to have how do I say it, a deal with them might be the young boys, or you might even see them coming to England. Who knows what will happen? But for me, I'll concur to what Emeka said. Let them just move forward like that.
For the record, I like dreaming big, and of course, everybody, millions, tens of millions are watching us live. You can see I'm wearing a particular jersey. It would be nice.
Oh, please, let's not get there, please.
No,
it's too early for that.
You wouldn't want us
to strike a deal with Real Madrid.
Rome was not built in a day, but Rome was built daily.
Yeah.
I can dare to dream.
Yeah.
And Enugu Rangers, you are big a club, you're a big side. Forget about what these guys are saying. A very big side. And one of in the near future, Real Madrid could be one of the biggest sides that will come around and then, strike a deal with Rangers. I mean, who knows? The man can dare to dream. But speaking of dreaming, we're still on the home front, and the manager of the NPFL Manager of the Month nominees have come out, Player of the Month nominees. We'll get to that in a bit. But first of all, Aimba, remember they had a lot of games in hand and they tried to get them. They got their first win in about 6 games, I guess, thanks to their game in hand. So that was a reschedule. Some of the results, like the rescheduled fixture from match day 17, where they won Nasarawa United. It was a very, very important game because it pushed Aimba, I beg your pardon, it pushed Aimba. I know you're very proud because you're from Abia. Pushed Aimba to 7th on the log. And, you could see I'm happy about that result for a number of reasons. First of all, you're looking at a situation whereby Brown Ideye, who is one of the latest signings for Aimba, the legendary centre forward who is being a big one who was actually a winner in the Super Eagles of Nigeria, a winner in the African Cup of Nations in 2013, Brown Ideye. And he's moved on and now he's with Rangers. He's with with Aimba. And then he's also been on goal scoring form. He scored for them in that 4-1 thrashing that they handed out to to these guys. That's Black Bulls of Maputo in Mozambique in the 4-1 thrashing. He scored. I remember Joseph Atule scored a brace in that game too. Then also you add to the fact that these two guys, that's Joseph Atule who grabbed the brace, and then they were also on the score sheet in this game. So it's a good thing for them because I think Atule scored in the first half. That's the 4th minute of stoppage time in the 45th minute, first half he scored. And then Anas Yusuf now, I feel for Anas Yusuf. Now, really in a way, because Anas Yusuf is the highest goal scorer in the NPFL. That should be 12 or 13 goals right now. But they are striking fortunes. There's a discrepancy between Anas Yusuf's position on the top of the log as the highest goal scorer in the NPFL and then where his team sits. They are basement boys, Nasarawa United. So he scored in the, I think that should be the 57th minute or so, only for Brown Ideye to justify his inclusion in that team by scoring the winning goal in the 61st minute. How much of an impact, positive impact actually, would you say Brown Ideye has been since his return to Nigeria and then come to join the People's Elephant? Because I think he's one of the players that could just turn many heads this time around and show that at the age of 36, he still got it in the tank.
Well, if you ask me, I would say he's been like a live wire. Not really that out and out all the time, but I mean, when the results are needed, he does put his shift in. He does give out some good performances, gets some couple of goals when they are needed. And I mean, that's what you are here for as a player. No matter what position you play, you're here to help the team win. You're here, give the goals, give the assists. That's what you're there for. And suddenly, it seems like he's found his feet. He's come back to the league. He's giving out the shift. He's giving the goals. That's just what we love to see. And I mean, I hope he can continue with this form for the rest of the season, because we've seen situations like this where players hit the ground running and maybe they have a purple patch and maybe last to the end of the season. So I do hope he can continue this rich reign of form.
Yeah, and I know I like the way we're talking about this. Apart from, of course, Divine, his loyalties lie in a way because of where you come from. But still, that notwithstanding, we love good football. We love what we are in Enugu. We're domiciled here in the south. That's in 042 Enugu, the coal city. So naturally, there would be some bias towards Rangers, but we are happy about what's happening in Eimba because Eimba are a sister club, and then they are the only NPFL side that's still remaining in CAF competition. So we should root for them and then at least hope that they do better than they're doing right now. So I get the angle you're coming from, and I hope also that Brown Ideye will be considered for the Player of the Month next month, and that also leads us to the nominees for Player of the Month. Brown Ideye, as you can see, has been very, very instrumental to the cause of Eimba, the People's Elephant of Aba. And speaking of which, he's in good form right now. He's going to come about and then try to see if he can be a nominee for Player of the Month. And we have the nominees for Player of the month of December. We have Desmond Ojetefian of 3SC, that is the Shooting Stars of Ibadan. And then Lucky Abdullahi, our very own Lucky Abdullahi of the Flying Antelopes of Rangers. Very, very instrumental this season. 3SC have 3 players there. Mustafa Lawal is also there as a nominee for Player of the Month. And then you also have Ikowem Utin, who is also of 3SC. He's a nominee for Player of the Month. Then you have the other ones there. Ibrahim Shuaib. Shuaib is there for Remo Stars. They are the league leaders, and he has been involved in making them sit down at the pinnacle of the NPFL so far. And then lastly, you have Chijoke Alakwe of Aqua United. Aqua United have been struggling somewhat. They'll try to get there. But anything good that Aqua United is doing so far this season is you will have to look at Chijoke Alakwe. He's involved in that. And really, we need to keep our fingers crossed. Then speaking of the managers, I don't know, first of all, before we look at the managers, do you have any objections with that list of the Players of the Month? Like, do you feel that somebody doesn't deserve to be there, or maybe some other players, in as much as they deserve to be there, these ones that have been mentioned, some other players were not really mentioned? Like, for instance, you look at Enugu Rangers, you would say someone like Kazim Ogunleye, for instance. You could say someone like Isaac
there is a good shout for him, But I mean, when we're talking about the month of December, you look at these people who have been nominated, you check what they've done for their teams, you see that actually they deserve to be here because they have put in the shift, they have put in the work. I mean, you've seen three FC players here. That's to tell you that there's something going on good in the club. There's something working there. These are the men that are making it move forward. If God are there lucky, that's to show you that some good things have come from his side during this month of December. Then you see Chijoke Alakwe that you've mentioned. They are not sitting in a good position, but I mean, everything working to get them out of there seems to be coming from his own end.
Sort of like Anas Yusuf that we talked about.
Exactly.
I was about to mention that guy right now.
So I feel when you look at this list of the nominees, everybody here has done what they need to do to get themselves here, and they deserve to be here. That's my own personal feeling about these nominees.
Okay, I like that. I couldn't agree any more than that. Divine, what's your take on that?
No, the analysis you talked about, I assume that he's been banging goals, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So, well, I don't know what his performance is personally was for December, but I know that for the fact that you spoke about him talking about what he's been doing, his prowess in front of goal. So I think he actually should have a place among this list. But that being said, it is what it is.
Okay, so I think we are all on the same page regarding the list. Fair enough. Now let's move very, very quickly to the managers of the month, and after we do that, we'll move to the other matters that lie ahead of us. Managers of the month, we have, of course, Finito himself. Rivers United are doing very well. They're second on the log. It's more like a topsy-turvy, not topsy-turvy. It's more like an up and down, exchanging, power must change hands. Let's put it that way, in a way. Remo Stars and Rivers United have been doing that. And no little wonder that you have both managers as nominees for manager of the month. Finidi George for Rivers United. He did it with Eimba. He's trying to do with Rivers United, his own native Rivers United. But somebody who is blocking him from doing that is Daniel Ogumodede, Remo Stars coach, and then the former Chan Eagles coach, because we're getting to that. I had to mention former. But Daniel Ogumodede has shown how brilliant a tactician he is. And then, of course, you have Greg Ihenoba of Bendel Insurance. He's the one that took over from Monday Odije. He took over from him. And so far, they've done quite well. And then, of course, we talked about 3SC, mentioned the three players who are there as player of the month nominees. And naturally, their gaffer is doing a fantastic job. The veteran himself, Benga Gumbote, rather. He's really doing a very, very good job there. So I don't know, or do you have a special case for, let's put bias in place, Fidelis Lechuku or any other manager? What do you think that somebody should have been here that's not there?
I don't want people to come out for me, but I don't feel like if Fidelis Lechuku should be here, actually. I don't think Rangers have done that much to come out. I mean, just the one player being nominated for the player of the month, I think that's the best we can get from them so far. The gaffer, I'm not sure he has really put in that much effort to get the team out of the current situation to warrant being a nominee. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
But I mean, if you ask me from this list, I do give it to the Remo gaffer. I mean, he's been the one to watch. Yeah. Sitting comfortably on top of the league isn't a play joke. I mean, you've done everything right. That means you're sitting there comfortably for a reason. You're doing everything that you have to do as a manager. You're keeping your players informed. You're keeping them in check. That means you know what you're doing and you know what you want to going forward. That's my personal take.
Okay, so Lonely at the top, and I think the dividends are there working. So, Divine, you want to make a point?
Yes. I'm looking at the stats here. I'm trying to analyze the stats here. More for the month of December, right?
Yes.
Especially, I don't know what the Shooting Stars gaffer. I don't know their position on the log.
They are third on the log, actually.
Third on the log.
Three of these nominees are first, second, and third on the log. You look at Benel Insurance. Actually, they've been impressive because they've picked up 6 points. They've had 2 wins from the 5 matches that they played. And you look at them, Benel Insurance are currently 15th on the log. So I think the fact that the new manager of Benel Insurance is in the mix. He's bumming with the big boys, and it's a testament to at least what he's trying to do. He's provided a bit of stability.
Okay, I'm just looking at the Benga Ogumbote, that's the Shooting Stars gaffer. Yeah. He has 5 matches and he has 5 wins.
That's why they're third on the log.
Okay. I'm actually, no offense to anyone, but I'm actually rooting for him to just win it because from what we are seeing here, he has the most impressive stats here. If this is the statistics, if it's the yardstick for the manager of the month of December.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
He'll be the one to. I'm just.
It's fantastic. I would be surprised if he's not appointed, because clearly you're as good as your last result. But this time around, he's showing the results. He's gotten there. 5 wins out of 5.
He's won 5 wins out. Come on, this is an impressive feat now. It's not something you just bypass like that. Okay. He deserves 1 or 2 accolades. He deserves his flowers.
Yeah, really. And he will get his flowers, hopefully. But let's see how the NPFL board is going to look at that. Everybody who is eligible to vote for who will be the player of the month and the manager of the month, we're going to think about that. We're going to talk about that. And then when the results come out, you will be the first to know on the home of sports on Afia TV. You can get us once again on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17. So when we return from the break, this very short break, we're going to go to the other bits of news. A lot's been happening right now. The new gaffer, a new sheriff is in town. His name is Eric Sekou Shele. When we come back, we'll talk a bit more about him, and then, of course, the controversy that's been brewing, and then we'll look at the FA Cup that is upcoming, and then the Australian Open and 1 or 2 other things right after these messages. You're welcome back to the home of sports on Afia TV. You can get us on the frequencies, channel 254 DSTV and channel 17 GoTV. And we're back. Of course, I'm here to CC the Rabbi with my very good friends and co-hosts and analysts, talking about, of course, the priest of football, Emeka himself, and Divine, the divinator. They're here. And we're going to continue from where we stopped. But this time around, moving straight to matters that concern us in Nigeria. I had to clear my throat because I'm trying to hide my emotions as much as possible. For those who are still living under a rock, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have a new gaffer. His name is Eric Sekou Shele. And he is Malian. Let us sink in for a moment. I have absolutely nothing against the people of Mali. Wonderful people. But, Eric Shele, yes, he's 47 years of age, and he will turn 48, I think, in November this year. And people have said all sorts of things about him. In fact, many have spoken very, very, with a lot of displeasure regarding the signing. While men slept, you just fill in the blanks if you want. And they feel that Nigerians were ambushed with this signing there. Look at the man, no disrespect to him. I have nothing against Eric Shele, but the issue right now is this. At the risk of sounding a bit harsh, we could do better, because we've been talking about this issue of a local coach versus a foreign coach. Yes, I know you're looking at his stats, the different clubs he coached, the different countries he coached and all that. You're looking at the last side that he coached, which was Mali, the Malian national side. Malian national side that could not go beyond the quarterfinals in the AFCON. An AFCON that Nigeria reached the finals in. So are we going back or forward? But in fairness to him, he's coached the Mali national side 22 times, had 14 wins, had 5 draws and only 3 defeats. So in fairness to him, you're only as good as your last game. Yeah. But sometimes we have to just face the elephant in the room. Stop experimenting. Stop toying with Nigerians' emotions. First of all, you're looking at the issue of a foreign coach. There was talk, of course, Bruno Labbadia. We saw how that went. I don't want to talk about that. That's not necessary. Then the issue of Finidi, when it was there, of course, before Finidi, Jose Pizarro. I'm talking about the most immediate managers we've had. Jose Pizarro was here, took Nigeria to the finals of the AFCON. Yes, unfortunately lost, but we were expecting them to do better. They brought Finidi, and then after Finidi, of course, Egoavon, in one of his many stints, came in there, tried to do the best that he could, eventually qualified Nigeria for the African Cup of Nations. Total Energies African Cup of Nations that will be taking place in Morocco come this year, ending of this year. And then we're talking about this. Okay, fine. If we don't want to get a foreign coach, why not take a local coach? We have a wonderful set of coaches here. We have Samson Siasia, who has been there before. We have Austin Eguavon, who has had multiple times as manager. He has multiple stints as manager. We have Aneman Anamnike. Yes, he's attached right now with Heartland FC, but we know what he's capable of doing. Yeah. We know his pedigree. We even have some other coaches that are around there. You're looking at people like Daniel Ogumodede, for instance. You're looking at Fidelis Ilechukwu, and so on and so forth. The list goes on. Now, I've heard different things in different quarters about Nigerians being, it was unfortunately, and I'll say this without mentioning words, the former president of the NFF, Amaju Melvin Pinnick, he was being interviewed recently, and then he was pretty much accusing Nigerians of rejecting Shele because he's black. Excuse me, but I think that is very unfair. That's an insult to our intelligence, because it's not, I'm coming. It's not about him being black. That's not the issue. Let me give you an example.
Wow.
If, for instance, because I feel very personal about this.
Wow.
If, for instance, let's say Thierry Henry, the Arsenal and Barcelona legend, came down and he was unveiled as the manager, I don't think too many people will have issues because of his experience in his playing days. Yeah, managerially, he's not really been that sound. Or his former teammate, Patrick Vieira, who is French. Or maybe, for instance, someone like Ruud Gullit, or someone like Frank Rijkaard. Now, what do these four men I've mentioned have in common? The color of their skin. They are black. So it's not a question of being black. It's not a question of the melanin that you have. It's a question of, whether you're qualified to take this job. Because really, I think, Shele, I think he set himself up accepting this kind of job.
I'm really shocked to hear this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're bringing in the issue of the color of skin into this.
No, it was an allegation. I'm actually responding to the allegation of Pinnick.
Of the former.
Yes, I'm responding to his allegation, because that allegation doesn't hold water as far as I'm concerned. Why would you actually assume that Nigerians think that Shele should not be qualified because he's black? What are we? Are we purple? So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, like you just said now, Shele just set himself up. But I mean, accepting this job comes with 2 risks. I'm not just saying 1, 2.
2 risks, yes.
You hit the ground running as a manager, you get 1 or 2 good performances, and you flop throughout the rest of your managerial career in Nigeria. That's going to haunt you forever. I mean, Nigerian media, Nigerians in particular, aren't soft-hearted people. Once you're not getting the good results, I mean, they give it to you hot as it is.
A country of over 200 million coaches. What else do you expect?
What do you expect? I mean, the second risk is he doesn't get the best of performances in his first game. I mean, it's going to be a mess. He's just set himself up. I have nothing against Shele.
Nothing.
I'm actually hoping that he succeeds at Nigeria. But I mean, if he doesn't get the results soon enough and frequently, it's going to be a disaster.
What I have to say is, we should all just allow him to do his thing. He's been appointed. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's just watch and see. After all, Pasero, though he's not black, but he's not Nigerian.
Yes.
We allowed him do his thing, and he almost won us the AFCON. So all we need to do is just allow this guy do his thing. The only thing he can do right now is there are sounds and buzzing sounds of criticism and questions flying over his head. The only thing he can do as a coach is to get the team together, do something reasonable with the Nigerian national team, and those boos and those rumors will turn into applause.
Okay,
that's all
this is what I have to say about that, because now, like I said, and we've all agreed, we're all on the same page in this regard. We all feel for him. We have nothing against him.
Yeah.
We wish him the best. We have to rally around our coach, because whether you like it or not, he's our coach. Yes, he's a Malian. His name is Shele, not Chalet. Thank God for that anyway. But, he's a Malian, but we just have to take note. I said Malian, not Marlian. Let's, for clarity's sake, I said he's a Malian. It's from Mali. Okay, please. Now the point is, we have to rally around him, support him. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Now, let me tell you why it's not easy. Yeah, we know that his stats for Mali are decent enough. Like I said earlier, 22 games played, 14 wins, 5 draws, 3 defeats, with a 63.64% win percentage, which is modest, which is good, which is actually admirable. But the fact that he has to hit the ground running is part of my apprehension. He doesn't have the benefit of friendlies, like grade A friendlies, because his first assignment is to take the Super Eagles B team, that is the Chan Eagles, to the Chan tournament in Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya between the 1st of February and the 28th of February. That his next major assignment takes off from March, where he has to continue trying to qualify the Super Eagles of Nigeria for the World Cup. And you know how it is right now. We have 3 points. 3 points from the 4 games that we played. So really, I think he has a very big task ahead of him.
And that's why we have to. Uphill task.
It's a Herculean task, indeed.
It's an uphill task for him to achieve, honestly. And I mean, he has to get himself ready for not just the mindset he needs to get his players ready. He needs to get this synergy and chemistry between not just players, but with him. There has to be a sense of understanding in the dressing room. The gaffer's instructions have to be clear. There has to be a clear system that he wants. There has to be a clear understanding that the player can carry out these objectives. I do hope he can get that sorted out. I mean, you'd say he has the chance now AFCON to focus on. I mean, I do hope he succeeds at that. That will give a bit of moral confidence in him. Okay, trusting the process going forward before we do the uphill task of qualifying for the World Cup. I mean, it's a lot to think, but I do hope he succeeds.
Okay, Nigeria is known to be a praying nation, so let's pray. We need to really pray.
Let's pray he can get the job done.
That he does well, and then
Pray until something happens.
Yeah. Preach it, yes. And we'll get to that. We'll pray and hope that he really gets to hit the ground running, and then who knows? Because momentum is one of the biggest gifts you can have in the world of football, and every manager needs momentum. And what better momentum to have than to enter into the African Nations Championship, that is the CHAN tournament, and then start winning and hopefully even win the title. And then you have enough morale to go ahead and
and speaking of momentum, we do need to enter our jets and fly across.
We will fly right now. We'll fly to that. We're going to fly to England right now.
That's the only destination I want to be right now.
But there's some other places.
Because there's a lot of movement in and out.
No, we're getting to that. We're getting to that right now. Now, when we return from this very short break, we're going to look at what's happening in England. It's the EPL is not going on this weekend. It's the FA Cup, like I said, the oldest cup competition in the world. And we have some wheeling and dealing. Managerial trapdoors have been really busy throughout this entire season. And some managers have come in. And of course, 6 managers so far in the English Premier League have been sacked. And there have been replacements since. But one of the biggest replacements is somebody that I call the Moisiah. Who's the Moisiah? When we return from this break, you know who the Moisiah is. On his return to his beloved side, somewhere in the northwest of England. Stay tuned. So welcome back to the Home of Sports on Afia TV, where you can get us on the frequencies of 254, channel 254 DSTV and channel 17 GoTV. And we are here talking about sports. So much has happened over this past weekend. And of course, we're going to go into the other things we've been talking about. We've been talking about managerial trapdoors, and I'm not doing this alone. Like I said, I'm still with Emeka here, the priest of football, and then the divinator himself. And we were talking about managers. Now we need to, it's sad because I have a soft spot for managers. And 6 of them have been sacked so far in the English Premier League this season, since the beginning of the season. 6 managers, 6 men, half a dozen managers have been rendered jobless. That is very sad. But we look at them, and Emeka, over to you. Let's talk about these managers. Their degrees of, should I say, ineptitude and whatever it is that made them get sacked in the first place. I don't want to assume that the owners of the clubs and the hierarchy of the clubs just didn't like their faces.
Well, there was first Steve Cooper.
The Welshman.
There was a Steve Cooper at once, Leicester. Then he got sacked, brought in Van Nistelrooy. Then a certain gaffer at the Theatre of Nightmares, as they like to call it.
We're not laughing at Eric Ten Hag, for the record.
No, it's just the stadium we're laughing at. I mean, there was a certain Ten Hag who was once there, then replaced with Ruben Almiron. Then certain Russell Martins was there, was sacked by Southampton. Then came a certain Gary O'Neill who didn't live up to the expectations of the Wolves board, apparently. Sacked, sadly. Then came, this is actually the one manager that pained me the most, Lopetegui.
Julian Lopetegui, yeah.
Julian Lopetegui sacked by West Ham. I mean, the chants were there for weeks. You're going to get sacked eventually. It's just a matter of time. The fans were even showing him the gestures of the clock and everything. I mean, I really hoped he could stay further than he did, but I mean, he was sacked. And finally, the one man everybody is shocked. Sean Dice. I mean, after getting good results against City, Arsenal, and Chelsea back to back, shown the boots.
I, for one, am not shocked. You know, he's been playing anti-football for a long time. And then the fact that Everton, you know, see, let me tell you the reason, the ramified implications.
So just before you get to that, he is known as the escape merchant. If you need a manager to get you out of the relegation zone, you do stick with Sean Dice.
He borrowed that moniker from Sam Allardyce, and we know how that ended with West Bromwich Albion. So really, eventually, every dog has his day. And that's what happened. Because Sean Dice, she's the Minister of Defense, always blocking defenses and all that. No shots on target, nothing. And, you know, look at the ramified implications. He's had about 2-3 seasons to get things right. Everton have been in a relegation dogfight for the past 2-3 seasons now. Exactly. And Everton, for the record, Everton Football Club, yes, they are just narrowly above the relegation waters, but they've registered one win. I repeat, one in 11 games, in the last 11 Premier League games. He had to go. Sean Dyche had to go. Of course, all the other managers mentioned there, most of them had to go. They had to go. You look at, Russell Martin. After that 5-0 mauling that he suffered at the hands of Tottenham Hotspur at St. Mary's, he just had to go. Ten Hag was a man living on borrowed time, and it wasn't working for him. He lost the dressing room and everything. He had to go. Lopetegui, yes, that hurts me a lot. I feel bad. And then, funnily enough, his successor, who is Graham Potter, he started his regime the same way he started his own regime. Because in August, he was appointed as manager of West Ham United, talking about August 2024, talking about Lopetegui, and lost in the Claret and Blue Derby to West Ham United. Sorry, to Aston Villa. Aston Villa lost 2-1. Now, the same thing happened yesterday. In his first game in charge of this side, that is of West Ham United, on his return to London, talking about Graham Potter, he lost by the same scoreline to the same Aston Villa. So I don't know, the parallels are just there. Cooper, it wasn't working for him. Yeah, it just wasn't working. He had to go. At all, so when you check all of them there, you just know that there's something there. Gary O'Neill, Wolves were struggling seriously. So it's something that you just have to understand. This was bound to happen. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. These managers got sacked, and rightly so. I'm sorry, but they just have to.
I want to take it to the 6th replacement.
Yes,
how they played that live so far, and the new Hems. It's not becoming us shortly, but I mean, we've seen how Ruben Amorim has come since he's left Sporting and come to Manchester United. It hasn't really been a breeze at United. He has had some ups and he has had some downs. You've had Van Nistelrooy having some good days, and I mean, he hit the ground with an impressive win. But since then, it has been cold, it's been shaky. It hasn't been what they've been expecting at Leicester. You've seen, like you just said, Lopetegui's replacement losing to the same Aston Villa. It's a bit of karma. Let's just say it like that. I mean, it's a bit of karma coming into this. Sean Dice, we're still waiting for David Moyes, who has just been announced.
The Messiah
himself. Who has just been announced as the new Evertonian coach. Could he dig into some of his olden day tactics at him when he was there before? We don't know. Maybe new tactics. Southampton new manager hasn't done too bad, but I mean, he inherited a squad that was down and out. Last place on the team. I don't think there's much you could expect from that Southampton team.
He's a Portuguese manager, and Portuguese managers tend to do quite well in the Premier League.
Well, we do hope he can get them out of there. And yes, the Messiah himself had some words to say.
Yeah, the Messiah, just for the record, so you can know, 11 years plus after leaving Goodison Park, he's returning to Goodison Park for the last time. It's actually fitting that the man who brought the good to Goodison Park for 11 years, from 2002 to 2013, before moving on to Manchester United, is back in their final season in Goodison Park. That is Everton Football Club on the Merseyside. So I'm quoting him. He said, "It's great to be back. I enjoyed 11 wonderful and successful years at Everton and didn't hesitate when I was offered the opportunity to rejoin this great club." Now, that's David Moyes. Now, for the record, I know that the fan base is divided regarding his return, but come on, you have to remember the man that did a lot of good things for Everton. Now, for instance, this is somebody who made Everton in his 11 seasons. 8 of those 11 seasons, they were in the top. Did I say 8? No, 9. I think 9. 9 of those 11 seasons, they were in the top 8. top 8. They finished in the top 8 of the English Premier League.
Is either they are on 6th or they are on 7th.
That was actually what happened. Within the top 8, they didn't fall below 8. And then you find out that he also qualified them for the Champions League. No Everton manager has done that. Yeah, I know that he didn't go through because they faced, I think it was Villarreal in the two-legged affair, and they got knocked out. And Diego Forlan was still a player then in Villarreal. So he wasn't able to do that. That was the season that Liverpool finished 5th and won the Champions League in 2005.
Add to that, I think, did he win the Europa League with West Ham?
No, he never did.
Okay.
He actually won the Conference League.
Yes,
but that's West Ham.
Yeah.
So he's a good manager, but I'm referring to what he did with Everton. So he made Everton a stable club, made Everton a traditional club in England that should be respected, if not feared.
When you look at this situation here, bringing back someone who was there at 11 good years, I would like to say, someone who laid cement blocks for the foundation of what is good at the club currently. Having some of the fan base not wanting him back is crazy for me, actually, because I mean, he's only Everton manager.
Entitlement.
He's only Everton manager, like you said, who took them to the Champions League.
Historically, it's safe to say that he's the best coach Everton has actually produced
in recent years.
That's what
I'm saying. So because he knows what he's doing. Back then in Everton, I remember vividly, Everton was actually a force to reckon with. One of the smallest clubs that gave big clubs
with a shoestring budget. Exactly. They didn't have the money to spend, but with the resources that they had, they did exceptionally well.
Of course,
under David Moyes.
May I say this?
Yes.
With Moyes, I do see them climbing into the mid-table. I do see them climbing into I don't see them as relegation battle. No, I don't see them in that conversation again. I do believe he will hit the ground running, get some couple of results, and take them where they need to be. Even if it's not Europe this season, he can get them higher up.
Way above.
Okay, let's hope so. Now let's move quickly because we are running out of time and we're still in England. Yeah, the Jet has been warming. We landed, and that's why we've been talking about the managers that were sacked and the ones who have been replaced. And right now we're looking at the FA Cup. FA Cup fixtures, of course. Yesterday, like we mentioned, the Claret and Blue Derby took place yesterday. That was the Aston Villa against West Ham United. Yeah. Graham Potter lost his first game in the West Ham under controversial circumstances because that goal, that corner that led to Amadou Onana's goal, the equalizer, should never have been a corner. It should have been a goal kick. But anyway, come on, VAR, you know what you're doing, or maybe you should know what you're doing.
It's VAR being VAR.
But we'll still talk about that. But the FA Cup, there are a number of fixtures. I know that Liverpool are going to be facing Accrington today. That's going to be a whitewash, most likely. Yes. But beyond that, the most outstanding fixture is going to have to be that clash between Arsenal Football Club and Manchester United, which will take place tomorrow, the FA Cup. Arsenal, Man United, looking at an Iberian derby between the Spaniard, Mikel Arteta of Arsenal Football Club, and the Portuguese, Ruben Amorim. Now we're going to see his first game. Actually, no, that's his second game. He's going to be looking for revenge. His second game against Arteta, against Arsenal, because the first game, they used corners to finish Man U. Remember that? So really, I think it's going to be a big one. These are the two most successful sides in FA Cup history.
Just say
27 titles between them. 14 for Arsenal, the most successful club in the FA Cup. Man United have 13, the second most successful club.
Might I just say this?
Yes, please.
My idea to dream, could United grab a win just as Newcastle did in the Carabao Cup over Arsenal?
It's possible.
It's possible.
Anything could happen. It's possible. But like you said, that's football. Arsenal are stretched, Man U are stretched, but no, this is how football is.
Just for the want of time, I would like to get predictions for that game.
Okay, yeah, fine. My prediction is that Arsenal will go through.
Scoreline?
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
Divine?
I hate the fact that you just placed me in the spot right now. Why would you do that?
Let's go, like.
Arsenal to win. I don't have to concur. By 2-0, actually.
Well, I do give the Gunners 2-0 to win. I'm not looking down on United, but I do see Arsenal getting the win there.
Anything could happen. But that's going to be the FA Cup fixture today. Tomorrow. We'll take off tomorrow. So that's the main fixture. No disrespect to the other fixtures, but that will always be the standout fixture in the FA Cup. And we move very, very quickly to, we have the Australian Open. We'll just say this in passing. The Australian Open is going to kick off tomorrow. And remember, you'll be looking out for your big stars. Novak Djokovic, the joint most successful Grand Slam winner of all time with 24, joint with Margaret Court of Australia with 24. He's looking to get his 25th title. He's 38 years old this May. He'll turn 38 this May. So he'll be looking to get his 28th title this time around, 25th title, I beg your pardon. But he's going to have to do that against the young guns. Yes, he has a very good friend of his, an age mate, who is in his corner as his coach, referring to Andy Murray, the Scotsman. He's going to be his coach. Very, very surprise move, but he knows what he's doing. So let's watch and see what Nujuk will do. He's going to come up against the American. There's an American that he's going to come up against. Then we also have the other players that are there, the young guns who are going to try to frustrate his efforts. World number 1, Yannick Sinner, is going to be playing. And then, of course, Carlos Alcaraz, who is world number 3, is going to be
the
playing
wonder boy himself.
Yes, and then Alexander Zverev will be playing too. He's world number 2 at the moment. Medvedev is also there in the mix. You have other players. What's his name again? That's Nick Kyrgios is the local lad who's going to be playing also. That's from Australia. And then Gael Monfils, who just won a title recently at the age of 38 to want to compete. Then in the female circuit, you have other players that are going to be playing. The fixtures are there for you to see. Ariana Sabalenka who wants to make it a hat-trick of Australian Open titles, having won the last 2 in succession. The likes of Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek, and then of course Madison Keys are going to want to stop that. Naomi Osaka also want to stop that, but just put that out of the way. So Australian Open will last from the 12th to the 26th of January. And then we end, of course, with one of the biggest fixtures this week. Actually, it's going to be on Monday, but it's pretty much folding from the weekend. And that is El Clasico Season 2. Real Madrid against Barcelona, the Super Cup final. Spanish Super Cup final. They're going to be clashing. Will this be a big opportunity for Real Madrid to get their revenge after that 4-0 mauling they suffered at the hands of Barcelona? Or will Hansi Flick do a double, back-to-back double over Carlo Ancelotti? Time will tell. These two managers who have been managers of Bayern Munich will want to do something.
Quick predictions, 2-1 for me.
Yeah, 2-1. Well, when you say 2-1, yeah, to Barcelona. My prediction, and it has nothing to do with the jersey I'm wearing. My prediction is Real Madrid will not let lightning strike twice.
Okay.
Real Madrid will get a 2-1 win.
Okay.
Against Barcelona.
We already know where Divine stands.
Yeah, I know, I don't mind. Just give your prediction.
But just give your prediction.
You want me to say it?
Yes, please.
Barcelona to win by 2-1 or 3-1. 3-1 rather.
Okay, since we're all cooking with 2-1 or 3-1, I think that's about the size of the package. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for being here. Remember, this is going to be a jam-packed weekend, actually, and then, of course, the rest of the week. We're going to be talking about this. And, this is the home of sports on Afia TV. I have been myself, of course, Sisi the Rabbi.
And I am Femelo. Stay tuned.
I need to mention my name as well.
Why not? Go ahead.
The Divinator of Football, Divine.
Divining as usual. Have a wonderful weekend, guys.
All right.